The fact that you're saying Clippy is a PC mascot.
He is. It's
Why, you'd put down Mr. Paperclip, and I was like, his name's bloody Clippy. He had a name.
All right, well, we'll talk about that, right? There you go. You've picked the topic.
Yeah.
Show for the Sounds of Stadia podcast, episode number 8. We're bringing you this week's topic of the show, which is: does Stadia in fact need a mascot, a gaming platform mascot? It could be you. It could be you. It could be one of your own creations within the world of Creator. Maybe you could actually send us some of your drawings. They can be as poor as possible. They can be as detailed as possible. We'd like to see what some of your creations are. But more importantly, the reason I wanted to bring this question to the table, ladies and gentlemen, remember, if you do have questions, you can write into the show at patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia, like our many patrons do, and give us topics, crazy topic suggestions, something sometimes game related, sometimes not. If we look at the world of gaming, you two, we've got Nintendo have made a name for themselves with their titular plumber character, Super Mario, or just Mario. Is his surname Brothers? Is that a thing that goes around?
His surname's actually also Mario.
That's it. It's because he's the Mario Brothers, isn't it? So his name's Mario
Brothers. Mario, and Luigi Mario. How confusing.
Is Richie froze?
Yes.
We've literally just started.
I know. Do
you think
it's
Richie
typical.
Could Richie be Stadia's mascot?
I mean, that looked pretty mascot-y right then, didn't it?
Yeah, Richie is Stadia's mascot. Richie's beard could be Stadia's mascot.
It could be.
We'll have to find out. He's back. So, Richie, we were just saying Mario is called Mario.
Yeah, Mario Jumpman Mario.
Mario Jumpman Mario. It's his Christian name. As some would say. we have...
What's his mother's maiden name? What street did he grow up on?
He never does any actual plumbing.
No.
Either.
No.
Like, and I know some people who work in the plumbing industry. I've never actually seen them go down a pipe either. they do stuff on the outside of the pipes.
Wasn't he originally meant to be like a carpenter in like the very, very early things before he was actually named Mario?
I mean, in the original one,
like the Game & Watch like sort of stuff.
Yeah, right? I mean, the original reason he's even got a mustache is just because they didn't have the amount of pixels required to make a mouth, so they just gave him a mustache. So
yeah,
I mean, that's why I have a mustache. There's not enough pixels to get rid of it, so I just keep it.
I have plenty of pixels.
Nice.
You're the man of many pixels. That's why you've got a full beard. It's all explained. That's why you tune into the post show to find out these little intricate details. But so we've got Mario, who's obviously been the flagship for Nintendo for many moons now.
Well, Mario is the flagship mascot for Nintendo, but Nintendo have a lot of mascots.
Well, they do. They have the biggest roster, arguably. But we're talking about their go-to.
Pick up Smash Bros. And there's all the mascots.
The mascot collection. Then we're followed up with Sega. And obviously, Sega do what Nintendo don't, if I'm not mistaken. And they came out with the Blue Blur itself, super fast-paced, Sonic the Hedgehog. That guy over there, not Iron Man, Sonic the Hedgehog. And he came out, turned the world on its side with all his fast-paced, pixelated action. Obviously, he's no longer... I mean, he's still Sega's mascot, right? He's just not representing a console anymore.
I'm just going to throw this out there, but Richie is frozen again.
Oh, Richie... is it... You know what? We did the
Welcome to the post show. He got through the entire podcast, but he couldn't get through the post show twice.
Why? Oh dear. I'm going to give the post show to him to edit today just because it's more time for me to find out where he goes froze to edit, to clip it out.
Wow. Oh, he's back. He's back.
And like Dr. Robotnik, he appears out of nowhere. Dun 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 dun. You still with us, Richie? You're getting more pissed off back there. Why? Sega.
Yeah, I'm back. For now, hopefully.
Third strike, Richard. That's your third strike now. You're editing this post show.
Oh, no. I just keep getting a weird default gateway error. I don't know what it is.
So sorry, Tom, you were saying Bandai Namco.
Bandai Namco.
Namco Bandai?
Bandai Namco.
Campco Bantai.
Okay. No, then you're getting confused with Capcom. No, Bandai Namco, obviously. Mascot, Pac-Man. Pac-Man as well. So there's lots of different video games companies as well. It's not just like the console manufacturers. But there's also different video games companies.
I mean, moving on through the generations, we will eventually get to Stadia, ladies and gentlemen. We had Crash Bandicoot, obviously of Sony fame. Obviously not, as you pointed out, Richie, pre-post
No longer
show.
exclusive.
No longer exclusive.
You're doing my boy Parappa the Rapper a disservice there as
I was
well.
thinking Spyro falls in that category as well.
Sir Daniel Fortescue of Medieval.
It's basically because obviously back then
it's that era.
Yeah, they didn't have the graphic fidelity to render a recognizable face. I mean, look at Solid Snake's face on Metal Gear 1. It's practically just two lines and like a pixelated mush of a potato.
I think there's a cultural impact as well. You have to talk. I think gaming back then was considered to be quite childish, and therefore games were made aimed more at children. PC gaming was a different thing, where they had things like Counter-Strike and Age of Empires, which were a bit more grown up in some certain ways.
Chessmaster 3000.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're absolutely right there, because if you think about it, even just like Sony through the years as well, you've got your Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, and so on. But then more recently, you're probably looking at more like Sackboy, Nathan Drake. Like if you think more about like big titular characters of different series who were like the cover child, the face of the franchise.
But I'd say Nathan Drake probably wasn't conceptualized as a mascot. He became one because of the games. Sackboy's different, but that's closer. I think you have to look at where the gaming industry came from. And basically,
mascot?
the industry was basically rebooted by Nintendo, like for the NES.
Yeah.
And Nintendo loved their mascot platformers.
Yeah.
And for a while, that was the gold standard in gaming.
I mean, it works, right? If you look at most big companies, they have something that represents them. And I think in kind of like humanizing them or putting them into some kind of like animal or creature, it does allow you to have that kind of character just to push your brand through almost. So that they're synonymous. Like Mickey Mouse. Like you can go anywhere in the world, I'd argue, and they would know who Mickey Mouse is because he represents Disney just as that. Even though, let's be honest, he doesn't have movies out anymore, or like I know he does his cartoon things. I say he as though he's a real thing. See how much they've humanized him. He has his own. He runs the Disney Corporation. But yeah, so then as we moved on, I think as we got closer to graphic fidelity, you're totally right there, Tom and Richie, saying that you've got like the likes of PlayStation. They've got like Aloy on, there's like the front and center now. They've got Jin from Ghost of Tsushima. Like they've got almost photo-real faces they can now associate to their brand, as opposed to a little
Ellie
yellow
from Last of Us is you could consider her to be a PlayStation mascot now.
Even Kratos from God of War as well. Like there's so many of them now.
For me, it's not just about the graphic fidelity. I think it's attitudes to console gaming in general. Has become like they realised all those kids growing up on like the Marios and Sonics of the world and the Crashes. And now 30-year-old adults still wanting to play on these platforms.
Here's a question for you before we move on to a different franchise again. So next generation's coming out, PS5. Who would you say at the moment is like the biggest sort of like, this is our front and center character that we're focusing on at the moment, or characters?
I mean, I think Microsoft wanted it to be Master Chief, but that hasn't went well.
It's clearly Greg. Or whatever his name is.
Oh, the orc guy, whatever he is. I think for Sony, my guess is now Uncharted is kind of like wrapped up with their story. I think they would want it to continue, but obviously with Naughty Dog, I'd say it was Joel and Ellie, but we all kind of might have an idea of what happens with their characters. I honestly think Horizon and Aloy is going to be like, it's a female protagonist, strong-minded. You can have those beautiful horizons behind her, no pun intended. But for like the artwork, it stands out. You've got robot dinosaurs as well, so there's a lot of elements that feed into that being like, look, I've got Spider-Man. Forget that, fuck Spider-Man. Spider-Man's better than Aloy. They own the rights to Spider-Man. I
think they're moving away from the old like Nintendo mentality where Mario is our primary mascot. We must launch a console with Mario on it. Now they're going, we've got all these different mascots we can use, each appeal to different subsections of gamers. So that's pushed a lot.
But it's interesting you say that, because for me, Ratchet and Clank is very much featured as like probably the most next-gen launch title that's coming with a console. But then I also think, looking at like the last couple, since PSVR in particular as well, like the little Astrobots as well, are definitely sort of like very, very sort of iconic in terms of the style, like the color scheme they use for the console as well. It fits very much into that sort of like artistic style there, the actual whites, the blacks, the blues, etc.
Well, we've all seen like launch console bundles where you might with different games, and the artwork on the box usually reflects it. So I think they're smart enough to know that in Mario like mascot, someone like a Sackboy or an Astrobot isn't probably going to appeal to that 40-year-old gamer who mainly plays Call of Duty.
It's an interesting one, but because I honestly think mascots are required to like you said for the different audiences, but more so I think you need to plant those seeds at a young age for nostalgia. So I think Xbox do really struggle with Master Chief being that kind of faceless person. It's just a suit of armor you're looking at. So
I disagree. I think Master Chief is very iconic.
I'd say he's iconic, but is he relatable? But
I haven't really heard much over the last generation really about Halo doing well. But this is I think that's where the problem with Master Chief lies.
But I don't think he has much of that character.
Argument. Yeah, but another part of that argument is who's your actual audience. Because for me, when I consider the Xbox and I think of Master Chief as a sort of mascot for it, it's very much this sort of like, this war hero, this man who can overcome every obstacle in front of him, the one-man army. And I think of it Xbox, and I think the main audience for Xbox are usually like teenagers, teenage boys in particular, possibly. And it's usually people who are interested in those like slightly more violent games as opposed to younger children's titles. It's sort of aged at a different level, the Xbox is.
I'd say you'd be talking your later teens, because your earlier teens are very much more looking at the Fortnite at the moment.
Yeah. It's two camps. It's either Fortnite or it's almost like
Overwatch,
anime
these sort of
Yeah. But all in all, though, these kind of characters, they help straddle generations. If you look at franchises that have been lost by the lack of a go-to figurehead, Watch Dogs is my go-to one, because like we joked in the main show, we had Aidan Pearce coming back for Watch Dogs Legion. The reality is, did either of you two know what the protagonist was in Watch Dogs 2 called?
No.
But
I've never played the game, so...
Would you? But even then, would you be able to look at some other games from other franchises and know what they're called, do you think? Like, everyone... Again, back to my Mickey Mouse thing. I feel like you could put pictures of Crash Bandicoot, Sonic, Mario, Pac-Man in front of... And again, they've been around for longer.
Iconic characters.
Yeah, if you're going to have them front and centre on your game art box, you need something to keep that franchise ticking over. And I think a character... Could we name the character... Tom, could you name the characters from Grand Theft Auto 5 that came out in 2013? The 3 protagonists in that.
I can visualize all.
I think I know where you're going.
Richie?
You're about to mention Vice City, aren't you?
Not really. I was just going to say...
I thought you were going to say like the 3 in like Grand Theft Auto 5 are kind of just characters, where Vice City, like Tommy Vercetti, is like such an iconic video game.
Yeah, you've made an argument. Tom's still thinking away.
I am. I'm thinking because I really feel like I should know them.
I'm not huge on Grand Theft Auto, so I didn't play it.
Oh well, but yeah, you're right. Tommy Vercetti.
Yeah,
even though he didn't talk much, if at all, anywhere. But let's not forget.
Now, actually, GTA 4 though, cousin Nico. It's just there because of like little things.
For me, the importance of the character I don't think there's that much importance of a mascot for a platform, but for specific games, it depends what you want your game to be. Something like Halo, which is very much about being that fantasy of being this one-man army taking on all odds, and you just want a blank slate for your player to slip into. Master Chief works. If you want something that's very much more story-driven, you're playing through the story, then something like Nathan Drake and Uncharted works better.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where I think Stadia in particular does need one, purely because it needs like that little nest egg to grow, and I think if you get a good one to start with, I think they need 2 in fact. I think they need one
franchise association.
Yeah, they need something that's exclusive to that platform. But when that Stadia S pops, you've got it.
I've got one for you. Right.
What?
So obviously we've got Nintendo are very much in on Mario. It's obviously, particularly with like the 35th anniversary, we've got all of the Mario games that are coming out again, and they've always built on that. They've
Mario's
always been
at the level.
true to it.
If Nintendo stopped making Mario games, would still be the mascot. Is Mickey Mouse levels a mascottery?
Yeah. And with Sega, it's Sonic. Like those two are very. But they're Japanese companies, so I wonder whether that's also got something that ties into it there. For Stadia, so far, I'm thinking, I've got one in my mind, and Chris, you'll love this. You'll love this. Our little blue Kirby, our Pepper Lagoo from Monster Boy.
Oh no, it's too close to Kirby.
Yeah.
It needs to be. I think the
pig with an eye patch.
I don't think Monster Boy had that platform association.
Yeah,
I think we only associate it with Stadia because that's where we played it. I think the wider
this is it.
No, of course.
In terms of Stadia marketing, let's not forget PC, Mr. Paperclip. We all associate him with Microsoft Word. He's been around for decades
Clippy.
now. All right, Clippy the Paperclip.
Clippy.
It's one of those things. As soon as you see it, you go Microsoft Word, and it's by association. I think the thing with a mascot is without saying any words or having any titles, you associate to that franchise or that platform by that. I can't see Sega without having fond memories of Mega Drive days. I can't see Crash without having fond memories
hear
of
someone say
PlayStation.
Stega.
Stega.
I can't hear. Sorry, I can't hear anyone say Sega without going Sega in my head.
Yeah, or having like the swing noise of Sonic running past the screen.
So I just think it needs it, and I honestly think if Stadia are looking to start off some franchises that hopefully we're going to see multiple entries in, I think they need their big AAA Uncharted S1 with a story and a character photoreal game, which I think is why they've brought in the God of War game director across. I think she's going to focus on that one, and I do think they're going to have a more family-friendly child. I mean, PlayStation tried it with Knack.
Yeah.
But I do think Stadia needs something that's some kind of animal that's been humanized and
Outcasters.
you can play as.
You know what would have been perfect?
Maybe.
You know what I actually think would have been perfect if it wasn't cross-platform? Fall Guys. That could have been a perfect mascot.
Yeah,
although if Fall Guys was a Stadia exclusive, it wouldn't be anywhere near as popular as it is right now.
No, but I think they need those two pillars covered. I think you can always do your generic first-person shooter where you don't see your character and no one ever talks. You've got all your RPGs coming, but again, so many franchises. There's so many of them out there. I think they need to really focus on just so when they show up on stage and Phil Harrison's there and they announce the games behind them, I think it would be great just to have that go-to character. As much as the poor sod will get loads of shit, as soon as that comes out, just like Knack did, as soon as they try and show a new character, but if it comes out with a great game, that's what will endear itself to people. You can only play it on Stadia. If you want to go play with whoever it may be, that's what it is. And then that's how you build hype.
I'm curious, in a world where the younger gaming audience are playing things like Overwatch and Fortnite, is there much room for like a mascot, like a platformer mascot? Like, will that bring in the younger audience? Or are they just going to keep... Because the younger audience seems to be more focused on these multiplayer games as service
they're drawn to the game as opposed to the icon. Yeah, it's tough. It's really, really tough, but... Do we need a mascot is the real question? Like, do you really think that we do?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I personally, I just think when you look at all... We've just spoke about them, but every other player in the industry has one.
For me,
how can Stadia not need one? It's proof is in the pudding there. Look how much money Mario, Sonic, Crash, Master Chief, and Mr. Paperclip have made those respective companies. You can't tell me in 10 years, we don't look back at Stadia and just go, they have that racing game, they have that shooting game. There needs to be something you associate to it, and something has to fill that void.
Yeah, that's where I half agree with you. I don't think we need a mascot. We need strong brand association with good gaming franchises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that are exclusive. Sony have done it, built up on their own, and we've talked loads of times about Sony versus Xbox over the last generation and how far Sony is ahead. But I think it's largely down to associating not necessarily the mascot, but these game franchises with Sony, that's where Microsoft have fell behind.
Yeah, but let's not also forget as well, it's all about the merch. Look at that, all that behind me. There's Sonic up there, there's an Iron Man, there's Darth Vader, there's an Assassin's Creed Odyssey, there's even frickin' Aiden Pierce over there with extra Crash Bandicoot. If you don't have a mascot, how are you going to sell that that consumer hype. Imagine
I don't think
they get a game and then the sequel comes out and you can go on the Google Stadia store next to your Chromecast Ultras and your 20 different colour controllers. There is insert mascot here is a little 10-inch pop vinyl collectible and stuff. That's the stuff that gets into geekdom.
Stadia Sam.
Yeah, I don't know how much Google care about that because they don't even have a basic of basic merch store for Stadia.
Yet.
You can't just get a basic Stadia t-shirt or anything like that.
Yet. But again, we're talking long game. Again, Sonic and Crash started somewhere, right? And now look at them.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I think the landscape was different back then. And Sonic was a direct competitor to Mario, who was dominating in terms of mascots.
True. But he just had his own movie come out in 2020.
Again,
so
Crash was the same idea, basically. They needed a mascot to launch the PlayStation 1. I don't think you'd need a Crash to launch the PlayStation 5.
Well, if it crashed, it wouldn't launch. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. On that joke, we will end the post-show. Thank you very much for stopping by to listen to us talk about our hopes and dreams for a future Stadia mascot. Let us know in the comments down below what your thoughts and ideas are for Stadia to have a mascot. Do you think they even need one? They may not. And by all means, submit your drawings to ourselves over on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at CyberChris2077. You can find Tom
at AdaxisLP.
And you can find Richie
at RichieC89. No dot in there.
No dot. .org.uk. My name's been Chris.
I've been Tom.
I've been Richie.
And we are the three mascots of Sounds of Stadia, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great week.
Mascoteers.
The three mascoteers. What was that word you said earlier on? Mascotarium or something like that. You've already forgot it. It's not a real word. See you later, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great week. Goodbye.